What's going on, everyone? It's Adam and Craig with Grandstand Golf. This is our round 4 DFS Showdown targets for the 2021 Memorial Tournament. But first, Craig, we're like half hour after completion of round 3, and one of the craziest things that we've seen happen in sports in a long time was Jon Rahm got the news that he tested positive for COVID-19 immediately after his round 3, where he was 6 strokes up on the guys in second. So, I mean, what do you think? What first reactions? Got reactions here.
First reaction, gut reactions is that you're gutted for Jon Rahm. This absolutely sucks. He just went out there and shot I think it was 64 today. Just playing exceptional golf and running away with this tournament. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I just would be so choked because, they're letting crowds in. They're not, they're not protecting the players from getting COVID in the way that they were. So I think that it sucks all around. But
yeah, you just have to feel bad for him. I mean, it's just, I implore everyone to go and look at the tour statement, what they released on Twitter or wherever to find the PGA Tour statement. They kind of go through the testing that they did and when it happened and kind of how that all unfolded. I think that's important to know when you're discussing it, how it all did unfold.
Yeah, I mean, Cole's notes, essentially he had a close contact who was COVID positive. So he was into a protocol where he gets tested every day. They had all come back negative until I'm pretty sure it was between the round that he finished this morning and starting the third round that he did a test. And it was that one that came back positive. The same sample they retested. So that eliminates a lot of I think it essentially eliminates the possibility of a false positive. So,
for sure. Yeah.
They have done everything by the book, and it just sucks. Like there's...
Yeah. There's a lot going around on Twitter right now or wherever you're getting your golf news. But I mean, it's protocol that they have. They're following it. They can't make exceptions. This is an extreme event where a person is leading by 6 strokes going into the final round. But if you make exceptions, then everyone's going to ask for exceptions to the kind of rules that you've made.
Yeah. And I mean, further to that, you can catch COVID even if you're vaccinated. We have no idea whether or not Rahm is vaccinated. So speculating on that or ridiculing him for being irresponsible or anything like that, like we don't know any of that. So it doesn't do any good to speculate about it.
Speculation doesn't really add anything. Yeah. We're talking about it, but try not to speculate at all. Just kind of what the facts are and what the news is.
So putting that aside, that sucks. It really makes for a golf tournament. The
one thing I would say is also if you're losing in DFS betting, don't make it about yourself. I mean, he has a lot going through your whatever dollars you're losing. You can lose that on any golf tournament. It sucks, but that's it.
Yeah, I mean, totally. These are things that happen in sports, and if you're willing to bet on sports, then you have to be willing to accept that random things happen. These are people. Things happen to people in their life. People fall down stairs when they're staying at a guest house, but during the Masters. So like these things happen. If you can't handle these things happening, then don't put money on the line. Especially don't put money on the line you can't afford to lose. But putting all that aside, it definitely makes this a much more exciting Sunday for golf, unless you just want to watch Jon Rahm stroll his way through a fairly easy win on Sunday. It puts a Morikawa Cantlay, the Southern California boys, into a pretty interesting match here.
It does. It becomes a very interesting tournament. This will be lingering over the PGA and all of the tournament tomorrow. Absolutely, it's going to be a great cloud, and we'll be talked about it every single moment.
But I put that aside. In terms of so we're putting that aside.
That is aside. 2 fantastic players, Morikawa and Cantlay, great course histories for both of them. And it also brings, I think, nines into play. For sure, nines.
I would say those 4 really.
Yeah. I think Scotty Scheffler for sure. He looked like he was playing very well. But yeah, Morikawa Cantlay. It's going to be kind of a great kind of showdown between those two, I think, tomorrow.
Yes, Scheffler, I actually don't even know how he managed to shoot what he did today, because it seemed like every time I saw him on TV, he was having to punch out of somewhere or something like that, So what was he today? He was a -3, which, that was a little bit smoke and mirrors. I mean, I guess he did it. There was a lot of good golf to go along with it, obviously. But yeah, I think that I mean, to me, it's hard not to see one of the top two guys taking this down. But
But there are big numbers lurking at every corner on this
for
golf
sure.
course.
Yeah.
And they could both get bitten in the same round. That's definitely a
And
possibility.
both of them have had some question marks with the putter of recent. So,
Yeah.
things wide open.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about a little bit. I mean, this is our first showdown show we've had all tournament, Craig. It's been a wacky tournament. Let's move over to the next one here about scoring averages. So over par every day. Today was the hardest. So I think we've had, those thunderstorms come through, the rain come through. I think it's starting to harden up a little bit, possibly making it a little bit harder, and probably see that into Sunday as well. So I do expect the course to play fairly hard. The one thing we've moved past it, but I did want to say datagolf.com has their live prediction model. Jon Rahm had an 89% chance for that win going into the round. Now it's wide open.
Yeah. It sounds like your daughter might have just gotten the news, because I did hear a big wail in the background. She must have just heard that Rahm had to withdraw, and she's not taking it well.
She put two of her suitors on Jon Rahm for the win. I think.
Yeah, I can't remember. I mean, I don't know when recently that we would have had a 54-hole leader that was as sure of a thing as Rahm would have been, or the probability would have been as high as it was this week. So yeah, I mean, I don't think there's an asterisk win on it by any means, but for me, it's more like an asterisk lack of a win for Rahm.
Yeah, I think that's actually a really good way to put it, because putting the pandemic aside, people have gone injured right before the round four. There's so many different things that can happen in the world that can happen from one day to the next. So yeah, it's absolutely a win for whoever goes. These guys are playing fantastic as well. I mean, Jon Rahm was just playing out of his mind, but these guys are still playing very, very, very good golf. And I got to say, I mean, I don't know what you think, but Muirfield Village looks great.
Yeah, like if they cut their off a bit short, I'd want to play it. But the rough looks brutal.
Those bugs, man.
Oh yeah, those bugs are crazy. But no, what was I thinking? Oh yeah, Rahm. This is to me, this is the closest thing to a win that isn't actually a win since Xander Schauffele won the Tour Championship and didn't get any credit for it.
Yeah, you like to bring that one up. Yeah.
So weather tomorrow, wind. I'm not doing anything in terms of my showdown plays.
Nope.
I think it's calm enough. It will pick up a little bit through the day, but I don't think it's significant enough to skew any lineup building.
Yeah. So back to the top of the leaderboard. Let's talk about ownership and what's going to happen today. So this is kind of the top. What do we got here? 10 guys or so, and their DraftKings pricing. So obviously, a few things stick out right now. It didn't seem possible to fit kind of the three in there. I think you're left with about 6,300. Now you just have to fit in two. And I think a lot of people will squeeze in Morikawa Cantlay. I think that means Siwoo Kim and Herbert will likely be very popular, probably with Grace as well. Are you seeing any areas to kind of avoid?
I mean, if you want
strategy?
to differentiate, I would take one of Morikawa Cantlay.
Yeah. Kind of pick your guy.
I think what I will do is likely I'll pick one of those guys and then fill it out. I mean, the ownership on both of them is going to be so high that essentially I'll
probably over 50%. So
yeah,
I think lineups with them together, probably
at least
a third of lineups will have them together.
I mean, a lot will. I'm not. It's going to be very high ownership on both. Yeah. I likely. I mean, I've kind of felt Morikawa from the start of this week, so I likely will be on him. But
yeah, he's your boy. He's your pick to win.
Yeah,
too.
I mean, I didn't imagine it going down the way that it has gone down, but. No, I think that, you could make the argument you pick one of the two and then you fill out with a very strong everywhere else. Obviously, the pricing has gotten skewed a little bit because Rahm was the most expensive and now isn't there. But yeah, I mean, I think ownership across all of these guys is going to be quite high.
Yeah, so let's talk about some different guys. You want to talk about some picks? We haven't done this in a while. Yeah. It's good. It kind of feels new, feels fresh.
It feels like we need to get some good ones here.
Yeah. Bryson DeChambeau is my first pick, 8,900. Can't believe he's under 9,000. Absolutely absurd. 8,900 on DraftKings for round four. He's gone 71, 72, 73. Nothing really spectacular. Even par, T29 right now, but he's done that with 1 eagle, 13 birdies, 9 bogeys, 3 doubles. So kind of a common trend you'll see amongst my 3 picks is they've got lots of low scores, eagles, birdies. They've also got lots of high scores, but they're generally guys that have good course histories here. And I think that, you can kind of correct those mistakes, hopefully, as the tournament goes along here. So Bryson DeChambeau of the entire field did have the second best lifetime scoring average at Muirfield Village at 70.43. The only person above him, I think, was Patrick Cantlay. So he plays this place pretty well. What has he done kind of this tournament? He's doing really well in approach, plus 3.22. These, if you're new to our channel, these are cumulative for the entire first 3 rounds. So that's about just over 1 per day. Obviously, all over the place, but it evens out to about 1 per day. But his putting is off. And this is one of the best putters in the world and has been for a while. So he's losing strokes putting right now, 44th in the field. I think that can be definitely corrected for Sunday. He has those 1 eagle, 13 birdies. He's always a threat to go low. I think he's kind of there's a bunch of guys that are kind of nice contrarian stars. I think you're going to talk about one, but Bryson, Hovland, these guys that are kind of halfway back or more, always a threat to go low, sneak into kind of a top 15, even top 10 position, and be in the optimal lineup for round 4.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Bryson from outside, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with ownership with him and the guy I'm going to bring up next. But I think Bryson from outside of being in contention is always an interesting prospect on a Sunday for Showdown, because he does have so much potential to go low in any given round. I would say that I care less, specifically in Bryson's case, I care less about his lifetime scoring average, just because he's transformed himself so much as a player that I do think he has a decent feel for the course, and I think that he can score out there. But to me, he's essentially he was a much better approach player before he went through all these changes, and so. But regardless, I think his showdown potential is high the way he plays now. And it's just the thing with Bryson is that it's extremely high variance. And so he has not kind of had a round yet this tournament where all of the variance has come out on the good. It's been a little bit of good and bad in each round. But if it all does come out in the good, then the potential to go low is significant.
Yeah, exactly.
My one here, similar vein, I think. I'm looking at Rory McIlroy, 8,500. That's just a juicy looking price. He's been 72, 72, 71, -1, tied for 22nd. 13 birdies, 10 bogeys, 1 double. Been doing a lot of heavy lifting with the putter. He's 13th in putting, gaining over 3.5 strokes. But then it's been, aside from that, it's been the approach play, 2.5 strokes there, and losing off the tee. There's been some serious accuracy issues for him off the tee. So that will be interesting to see whether that's something he can correct in the final round. Mm-hmm. But I think it kind of does. The fact that he is, tied for 22nd, through 3 rounds while losing almost a stroke off the tee is kind of a sign that there's some significant upside for Rory if everything clicks. I think Rory, we've kind of spoken at length about how the slump of Rory is been greatly exaggerated. For instance, you look at his last 10 rounds, he's gained strokes in 8 of them. His average over those 10 rounds has been 2.28 per round. So I think his game is not in as bad a place as people think it is. I think he's just been sloppy missing fairways this week. And then, fortunately, he has made up for that a little bit with his putter. But if everything clicks, I mean, he just like Bryson, his upside is so high.
Yeah, very similar to Bryson, playing better. He's better spot on the leaderboard right now. And the fact that he's close to kind of that average DraftKings price of 8,300 around there, that's just absurd. Yeah. Slot Rory in, it might not pay off, but when he gets down to, average.
Well, I think it'll be really interesting to see what happens with ownership on Rory and Bryson, because they are names that you see down there very rarely.
Yeah. So a guy I don't think will be very highly owned, but I like Christiaan Bezuidenhout. He's 7,800 on DraftKings. Seems a little bit expensive for where he is in the tournament right now, but he's gone 69, 77, 72. He's +2 right now, tied for 45th. He's gone there with 14 birdies, which I think is tied for 5th in the entire field. 7 bogeys though, 3 doubles, and a triple. He has this kind of middle 18 holes from round 2 to round 3 where he was about +8 over 18 holes. But he's kind of course corrected, and he finished his last 10 holes today. He did finish 10 under. So I mean, how's he doing it? It's kind of what we know from him. He's losing strokes off the tee, but he is a very accurate driver of the ball. So I do feel like that is a good thing to go into round 4. It does kind of, I know it kind of goes against his stats right now, but it limits kind of those high scores. And I think Bez overall is a guy who does kind of limit those high scores. And getting a lot with his putter on approach. Approach is okay. It's about field average for the guys making the cut. His putter, though, is doing very well. That's what he does very well, though. Historically, he's plus 3.19, 15th in the field. Just a guy that I feel like won't get a lot of ownership, but besides kind of this weird 18-hole round 2, round 3 stretch he's had, he's played really, really good golf. And if he got through that with his last 10 holes of finishing 4 under, perhaps something kind of figured itself out. So yeah, I think I'm at very low ownership. I am willing to take that risk on Bez in round 4.
Yeah, I think so. He is in at least one of my 6 of 6s, so I might stay away from him for I'm already invested in it reasons. But no, I agree. I think the ownership will be low. I think that his putter and his short game give him so much high end potential. Yeah, he seems to be showing up every week. I can't remember the last time he's missed a cut. So,
yeah, play them all.
Okay, not my last one. We're still on my middle one. Louis Oosthuizen, it's no brainer to me. Basically, I roster this guy every time I can. 8,200 on DraftKings. He's another guy like Rory at -1. He's 72, 71, 72, tied for 22nd. 9 birdies, 8 bogeys. Fairly straightforwardly playing good but not great across the board, losing a little bit around the greens. The putter not as hot as he has been putting for the last year, basically. He has gained 2 strokes putting, but he gains essentially about a stroke around putting on the season, so that is good. But on sort of, you can expect that, I think, from Oosty. The ball striking's been good, though. His accuracy off the tee is absolutely bonkers. So I think that, compared with Rory, where there's kind of the high upside, maybe a little bit more volatility, I would say Louis is much safer. I kind of feel like there's a little bit of upside, but not a whole lot of downside. I don't see him going out there and shooting a 65, but crazier things have happened. I think that would be a lot crazier than him shooting a 75.
Yeah,
you look at what he's done. So his consistency is just absolutely why I keep hammering him. He's gained strokes in 13 of his last 14 rounds. In those rounds, he's averaging 2.25 per round. So I think the game's in a really good place. I think it kind of gives you a fairly good dispersion of potential outcomes with there being some high potential upside.
Yeah, I mean, Rory and Louis, this is like your greatest hits. We missed a couple of showdowns, so you're going, guess what? I'm going to play the greatest hits. I can play the bangers. I know you guys
normally I space these out, maybe one per show through the week, but we just have one show. I got to get them all out there.
I like it. Okay, my third pick here, Adam Scott, 7,400 on DraftKings. Again, it seems too low. It seems too low. It just seems too low. He's gone 74, 68, 71, been playing really well. 3 under. Tied for 15th. He's on the leaderboard right there. He's kind of in the mix. 1 eagle, 11 birdies, 6 bogeys, 2 doubles. Again, like I said, my 3 picks here, they all kind of have these high scores, but I feel like they can kind of course correct. And Adam Scott, of all of them, has been kind of playing the best and most consistent. So across the board, positive in everything. Positive approach, positive off the tee, but it's really his short game that has kind of put him on the leaderboard. Gaining 2 strokes around the green and almost 3 strokes in putting. But with the other guys too, I'm just looking at, we're looking at the top of the leaderboard, Morikawa, Cantley. These guys play well at Muirfield Village. I think that's a common trend. And Adam Scott has 4 career top 5 finishes here. He was second in his last appearance in 2019. So I think it's just a course that he plays well at, probably fits his eye a little bit. He's playing well right now. I think he was 79 to start the tournament. He's 74 now. In 15th position. It seems a little bit too cheap. It kind of seems like a pretty safe play, but if everything, again, like everyone else, if everything clicks, he can have a great day. And I don't think, for some reason, he'll get a lot of ownership just because there's other guys around. There's always kind of other guys around there. And he's not in the top 10 where it becomes, obvious finishing position points.
Yeah, I do think that, that last one to me is, so Brandon Grace is at 74 as well. So I think that will keep Scott's ownership lower than it otherwise would be, but I do think he will attract some. So, I like the play. I think it was one of the first ones that jumped out at me too, that I think this is just value at 7,400. But that is what makes me think that even with Brandon Grace there, I think there still will be some, like people who are like, oh man, Adam Scott is a good way to round out the lower part of my lineup. But yeah, no, I mean him gaining with his short game is nothing new for him. He has been his short game has been doing a lot more of the heavy lifting over this past little bit. Yeah. My last one here, I'm going Anton Rosner, 6,700. He's someone that we've seen very good play from on the European Tour. And then in these last, he's had a few starts now in the US over the past few months. And we haven't really seen anything super special from him until I think today we saw a little bit of the potential that we have seen in his wins over on the European Tour.
For sure.
72, 69, -3. He's tied for 15th. An eagle, 8 birdies, 5 bogeys, 1 double. The putter has been poor. He's losing almost 3 strokes putting, but conversely, the approach play has been absolutely stellar. He's 3rd in the tournament in approach. That may be 2nd with Rahm out, but then also 16th off the tee. It really just he gained over 4 strokes on approach in his round 3, and if you go through and look at his shot tracker, it just looks like he just essentially hit it at every flag. So that's really my reason for liking this. I think there will be some, obviously at -3 at 6,700, it will attract ownership, but we also have Jim Herman and Wise Wise right down there in the same price. And what is it, Lucas Herbert?
Lucas Herbert.
So there are other people. How sometimes if there's one number that jumps out at you in terms of a score down in a price range, then that just attracts all the ownership. But I do think the fact that there's a few people down there will keep it from all flocking towards Rosner. But the fact that his ball striking, especially his approach plays, in such a good place, and the putter isn't, that's really kind of what makes me lean towards him. And just to sort of put it in context, he's gained strokes on approach in 6 straight rounds. And his average strokes in approach is over 2.5 strokes in those 6 rounds. So there have been a couple outliers like this round 3s, but it just, to me, those outliers happen when someone's ball striking is in a very good place.
Yeah, no, I like Rosner. We've been talking about him a lot on the European Tour. Had a little bit of a cooling off period, but love seeing him. I played him for round 3 showdown. Unfortunately, the rest of my 5 guys didn't do so well, but he did. And I'll probably go right back in round 4. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Make sure to hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel if you have not already subscribed. Clearly, my daughter wants me to make her some dinner.
I think it sounds like she's arguing that it should not be a Rahm loss. It should be a nullified bet.
Yeah, I think that's what she's saying. Winner and winning score. Who do you got? And make sure, if you're watching, comment below. Let us know who your winner is and winning score.
I'm going Colin Morikawa will tie Jon Rahm at 18 under.
Ooh. So that's
obviously Morikawa for the win.
I like Morikawa as well. I'm gonna go there as well. I don't feel like I need to be different. He's playing. This is Morikawa, but I'm gonna go 16 under. 4 under gets the job done.
Gotcha.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you again for next round.
Good luck, guys. We'll see you next time.